It is Nikola Tesla who says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. It was Albert Einstein who said future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. And it was also Nikola Tesla who said, the day that science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. I truly believe that we are in that decade. And I truly believe that Healy is a part of that change and that progress. So when we talk about frequency and the pneuma, the frequency in particular, something that I do want to share and that like blows my mind and I love to contemplate is this little fact. If we took the DNA from within our cells and laid it out in a linear fashion, it could wrap around the Earth 2.5 million times. So when we're talking about the quantum field, what we're actually talking about, and the quantum field is what Healy is in connection with, the quantum field is something that we know is there that we can't see, which is, this is how much information, genetic information, we have inside our bodies. And this is where our innate wisdom lives. And if you can't conceptualize that, it could also reach the sun and back 300 times. And this DNA, we struggle to even see under a microscope, but we know it's there and it's coded. And it is the frequency of our consciousness that determines, and I had a massive conversation with Richard Rudd, who wrote the Gene Keys around this subject specifically. It is the quality of our consciousness that determines exactly which part of that DNA is switched on and which part of that DNA is switched off. And that our DNA contains all the information, our lineage, our past, our present, our future, and all of the possibilities. So when we're actually tapping into the quantum field and when we're expanding, it's something that happens through the mechanism of our DNA. And Healy is a device that works on our frequency, and therefore our frequency is impacting that DNA and how much it can unwind and how much it can express in terms of consciousness. And there is science now proves that the universe and everything in it, including us, is made up of pure energy. The human body, I'm just going to break it down to keep it really simple. You know, we look at our physical body and our physical being, and we break that down into the first layer of I guess, separation. And what we'll see is like the tissues and the organs. And we break that down one layer further, and what we see is these beautiful cells. We have billions and billions and billions of them within our body. They all have their own beautiful intelligence and sentience, and you know, they work by they are by design. Our cells will bring themselves back into balance unless there are factors that are happening around and in that cell, in our body and in our environment, that disable them to be able to function at their optimum capacity. Now you break down those cells, and what you'll see further is molecules. You break those down further, and what you see is atoms. You break those down further, you get the subatomic particles, the protons, the neutrons, the electrons, and you put that under a microscope, and what you're actually seeing is 99.99999% space, which is kind of mind-blowing. That space is really, that's the quantum field. That's the information field. That is energy, frequency, vibration, and information. And it is the quality of this information field, or the access that we have to this information field, that determines the physical, the emotional, and the mental experience that we are having in our human form. So here we introduce the Healy. This is an incredible little device, which you probably see us all wearing, fits in the palm of your hand. And what it is doing is that it is scanning and analyzing the physical, the emotional, and the mental. It is communicating directly with that space, directly with your DNA, speaking directly in the language of frequency, picking up exactly where your field is out of resonance. And then it is delivering exactly the energy, the frequency, the vibration that is required by you in any given moment. Literally, it's doing it every 10 seconds when you're running a program. And it is giving you that energy back into your bioenergetic field so that your body, so that your beautiful, amazing, intelligent cells can bring themselves back into balance. And the beautiful, which is amazing. Just take a moment to pause how incredible that is. I know that blew my mind the first time. Although I knew it was possible, I had been dreaming of this since like 2014, a device like this. And so when I saw that this did this, it really resonated with me, and it really made sense, because I was like, of course we can do that. And essentially I see us as our own Healys, and I don't see Healy as replacing our innate intelligence. It's an enhancer and an amplifier and an optimizer of our own intelligence, and a way for us to bring ourselves back into connection with ourselves. Just so you know what Healy looks like, this is what Healy looks like, and this is what it looks like on your screen. Within every single Healy, there is 144 gold frequencies. Healy has patented over 10 million frequencies. There is literally a frequency for everything. And this morning I was running a thyroid frequency. Last night I was running the Fountain of Youth frequency. The thing that makes Healy really different and unique to any other device or frequency on the market, not that there are many, is that it has this incredible piece of technology called the quantum sensor. This is literally what is like having, could you imagine having a friend in your, that was with you all the time, that always saw you in your absolute highest expression? This is your blueprint. This is who you came here to be. This is your purpose. This is your highest health blueprint. This is your highest emotional blueprint. This is your highest mental blueprint. That is the capacity that Healy has. Through the information field, it is gathering that information, and it will show you, and it will choose programs and give you information based around where the energy is stuck in your information field, in your own information field, and it will enable you to move that energy through. There really is a frequency for everything, like hair, skin, learning, concentration, focus. For me, in the beginning, a lot of it was around stress and anxiety and sleep and adrenals. And that was pretty consistent for a month or two. And now it's kind of moved into a whole spectrum of play, really, with my body and my capacity. So Healy works on all aspects of the human body. It speaks with the language of frequency, which is a language that communicates through all barriers, through the barrier of, how does our physical actually communicate with our mental? The mental is a different language to the emotional. And so, when you feel like you have split energy, oh, I really my heart and my head, they're not together. That is when you're not in coherence. And the purpose of Healy is to create coherence, so that all of these parts of who you are that make you up, that speak different languages, different energy, different frequency, are communicating. And it is frequency that is the language that does that. And when you have coherence, that is when you're in high performance. That is when you're making powerful decisions. That is when you're deeply connected to your heart, to your purpose. That is when you can see your emotions arising, and instead of reacting, you can pull them back and be well, okay, yeah, cool, I can see that. It's coherence is that space where you can actually have the space to move in a way that is really, really powerful. And I'm just going to share with you our Healy vision and our vision of the company. And it's important to know a company, the seeds of a company and the heart of a company and where it's going, because ultimately what we're asking you and what we're inviting you to do is to look into and get curious about this company as a product, but also as a company, and because we partner with this company, and that is how we create income. That is how we're creating passive and residual income. So it's important to know these really key pieces. And the Healy vision is that our Healy vision is to empower people to live a healthy, fulfilled and conscious life, and to inspire our growing global community to make continuous positive impact on humanity. And the Healy mission, as an overarching mission, Healy World creates revolutionary products and opportunities to empower our members to thrive and to live a life of freedom, passion and joy. So it's really good to know the heart of this and where it's going. And the second piece that is really good to know, whether you know it or not, somewhere in the back of your mind, it's good to know the founders. And I know this is the reason why, is because you look at the major companies that are in market share at the moment, and you look at the people who founded it, and you look at where the money comes from, and you will know the heart and the trajectory of that company. And so I want to share with you the heart and the trajectory of this company. And the first one that I'm going to share with you is the heart and the trajectory, actually, but he is the heart. This is Marcus Schmecker. He is a monk, and he studied as a monk for 12 years, and he also left university at a very, very young age. I think it was like 14 or 16. Super, super intelligent, absolute genius, and a quantum physicist. So he really is the embodiment of science, because he has this quantum physicism and spirituality. He studied as a monk for 12 years. And he really started to see how these two worlds were like speaking about the same thing from seemingly different angles. And it has really been his dream and his heart to bring those two together, to merge science and spirituality. And he is the creator of Time Waver, which these were massive, massive machines that practitioners used. They were within, and they still are, around Europe, and they were approved medically for sleep, depression, anxiety, migraines, and fibromyalgia and pain. But they had such incredible results that Marcus Schmecker really birthed this idea of a Healy, where instead of people having to go back to a practitioner, they could experience this in their home every single day, with themselves and with their family. And it is his dream to have homes with 100 million Healys around the world. And Marcus Schmecker shows up in our community a lot. He doesn't hide. He's not a hermit. He's not a recluse. It's not like you don't get to have contact with him. He shows up and he gives his heart and he gives his information, and he's very dear and very sweet. And he met this gentleman, Christian Halper, at an astrological business convention. So you might say that the stars aligned when they met. This is the money behind Healy. Christian Halper, he owns a string of Michelin star vegan restaurants in Europe. He's a like multi billionaire. Like, people don't even know how much money he has, apparently, according to every time I've heard him being talked, every time I've heard his billions being spoken about. So he invested in Bitcoin way back in the day. He also had a super hedge fund, and he's really into conscious entrepreneurship and raising the consciousness of the planet. And so therefore he is a conscious investor. He's also married to a frequency specialist who is he's also very super passionate about energy, frequency, and vibration. And he also believes that frequency therapy will not only raise the consciousness of the planet, but really, has the capacity to change the world. Please, you start by purchasing a Healy. If you have more questions, there is a wealth of information that we can send to you. Be specific about what you want to know, because there is so much information. Like, ask the person who sent you here exactly what information you would like, and we'll be able to find that for you in the correct form. And the person who sent you here will be able to share you a link which will give you access into their store and also their lineage.